Yeah, good evening. We've just moved over to the east of the city. We're about a mile and a half or so away from where the attack took place last night. Of course, that breaking news in the last couple of minutes that man in his 30s has now been charged by police. The PSNI confirming that a 30-year-old man has been charged with attempted murder, possession of an article with blade or point in a public place and threats to kill. He'll appear in court tomorrow. We're just down on Lower Newtonards Road in the east of the city, where police here have closed the road, and in the distance there are a gathering of around 200 to 300 when we were just down there people. It's peaceful at the moment. There are certainly a large group of people in the centre of that group who are wearing balaclavas, who are covering their faces. But as I say, it is peaceful, and that is the way that the politicians and of course the police here in Belfast tonight will want that to stay. Just chatting to one officer on the ground here, asking potentially where any flashpoints, where their resources are being placed this evening, and they simply said all over the city. And we have seen the infamous riot vans here, the PSNI vehicles, the Land Rovers, being placed around the city. But that is a precaution and a call for calm tonight, not just from politicians, but of course from the police here as well. We heard earlier today from the Chief Constable, John Butcher, who said that really the community here in Northern Ireland should look to those people who rushed in at the attack last night, pulling off the alleged attacker from the victim, and that may well have saved his life. That is an example, the Chief Constable said, that truly defines our society. They saved a man's life last night, and it should be the actions of those people who are remembered. So across the political board and the authorities say calling for calm. The situation on the ground here in Belfast at the moment is quite a surreal one. When I got a taxi from the airport earlier to the scene of the attack, I was chatting to the driver here tonight. He said, I'm finishing at 6 o'clock, and many of his colleagues are. There's been lots on social media about roads closing. No businesses have been told to close, but actually there is a shop just over here behind the police van which has printed a sign saying that due to the protest tonight we're closing early. Shops have closed early despite no official guidance, and police here certainly at this point here have closed this road. They are diverting traffic. You can see here cars having to take alternative routes because of the fear of protests across the city, and not just in one location. This is a multi-location situation for the police here in Northern Ireland. It is not just one location. And up at the scene of the attack last night, we were there about 20 minutes ago. There was no gatherings there. It does seem at the moment this is the area where they are congregating, and as I mentioned, quite a few of those in that crowd wearing balaclavas and simply wanting to cover their face from the police. There is no police presence actually sort of down there in front of everyone, but clearly an air of tension.
Dan, I was just wondering, looking at the scene behind you, which you described, accurately as quite eerie, have you managed to talk to anybody about, you talked about your taxi drivers shutting up shop early and all of that stuff. Are there people worried that we're going to see a repeat of last summer's unrest? What are people saying to you?
Yeah, I mean, that is the concern, isn't it? The taxi driver said that the city is at boiling point. Those were the words that he used. There has been concerns about a growing number of migrants coming to Belfast and across Northern Ireland. And that has been a concern which has been inflamed, of course, by what happened last night. So, the residents around that housing estate in the north of the city where the attack happened, driving around there, you get a sense people still on their doorsteps. Eerie is the right word to use. We've just driven through the city centre to get to this area in the east, and the streets are now empty. You do get a sense that people are staying inside their homes, that people are not coming out. They are concerned about what may happen this evening. Again, it's important to stress, of course, that the call across the board is for calm and for there not to be a repeat of the violence that we have seen in Northern Ireland over the last few years or so. couple that, though, with the fact that there is extreme anger at what happened last night, and the people I have been speaking to, especially that taxi driver on the way, we only got here in the last couple of hours or so, saying the city's at boiling point, saying migration is a major issue, saying that the politicians simply aren't listening to the concerns of the community. That is obviously not what we're hearing today, but that comes after the attack last night, and that 30-year-old man now being charged. One security member, a security guard, told me in the last couple of minutes as well, when I was saying, do you think actually this could materialise this evening? I think some of the sentences that were handed down following protests over the last year or so may put people off. Very significant sentences handing down following riots over the last couple of years. But the situation at the moment, let's just see if we can just move forward a little bit, because I know there's no one in this police car at the moment. We can just come a little bit further, and you can see that there is a crowd growing at the end here, and the police are keeping their distance at the moment. We are on Lower Newtonards Road in this sort of east of Belfast. It's around 1.5 miles away from where the attack happened last night. It does seem at the moment, looking at it, that this is the focal point for gathering, but it's peaceful. There is obviously no visible police presence, no vast police presence at the moment. There, of course, will be waiting should anything kick off, any violence kick off, but that is not what they want to happen. They want this to remain peaceful. And of course, police have said, and politicians have said today, that people have the right to protest. People can come out and express the anger at the situation of what has unfolded here in Belfast last night, but that anger and that protest must stay peaceful, and that is the hope this evening.